Today we're going to talk about how you can appropriately cite quotes that you find. That means you aren't plagiarizing, you're actually using quotation marks, but properly citing quotes. So if they're facts or opinions, both need to be cited. Before I get into all of this, have you watched this video yet? If you have not watched this video, please pause this current one and go back on Google Classroom and find that one. So you have the animated version and then you have this version. Do you need to pause right now? Please do if you need to. Okay, for those of you who are back with me, we're going to remember what we saw in that first video. In the first video, it said you needed to know things about the author's last name, and you needed to know the page number that you found the quote on. And in MLA format, MLA means Modern Language Association. It's just kind of like people who make fancy rules about English. MLA format means you'd have your words, whatever your words are, like I like potatoes, comma, quotation marks. You'd have your parentheses. You'd have the last name of the author, a space, and the page number, parentheses, period. So for instance, if I said, hello, if that was a direct quote, and it was on page 17 of a book written by John Black, then you just put the last name, parentheses, period at the end. If there is no actual author, then this could be the publisher, like Holt or NASA or whatever. But if there's actually an author, you put the author's last name first. Please notice we don't put any sort of like number sign or PG or anything like that. This is just real crisp, real clean, no big deal. So let's think about this next question. How would you appropriately cite the fact that a total solar eclipse will occur this year, which you found on page 4 of a NASA published article by Stephen Walker? First thing is you need to decide what the actual thing is you're citing. We're going to cite that a total solar eclipse will occur this year, so we may not need direct quotes. If it said a total solar eclipse will occur, you might put direct quotes. If it uses the word that, it may not be direct quotes, but you still need to cite it. So I'm going to show you both ways. If it was a direct quote, then we need to say a total solar eclipse will occur this year. If that was the words you were taking from the text, quotation marks. And we might even add before that, according to NASA. According to NASA, comma, a total solar eclipse will occur this year. Now, I don't need a period right here because my sentence doesn't end right there. My sentence is going to end wherever I'm actually, My sentence ends after my citation. So we need the author's last name, which in this case says Walker. And we need the page number, which says 4, period. Let's try it if it's not direct. If you're just reading something and putting it in your own words, but you still have to cite it. So this would be an indirect way of doing it. Make it a little prettier. According to NASA, there will be a total solar eclipse this year. Notice I don't need quotation marks if I'm putting it in my own words, but I still need the author's last name, and where I found it, and the period at the end. This is a good thing. It's a really great thing to cite your sources, because then you know if you're right or wrong. You know, hey, are you sure it was on that page? Let me go back and check, and your teachers can check. Who said that? I never heard of this guy. And they can look at your works cited and check this guy and see his references. So you got to have the format down, but it's also just really important to know which is which. So your assessment is to look at this question and just turn in that one good solid sentence. How would you appropriately cite the opinion that dinosaurs are prettier than hippos, which is found on page 162 of a book by Bob Franklin? This is totally made up, but if you found this and you wanted to quote it, how could you write this out? To get 100 on this, you're going to be super picky about punctuation and quotation marks and all that stuff. Pay attention to these things right here. Whenever you're ready, come show your teacher. If you need more help, rewatch either video.